So let me tell you a quick story. My mother tells me that I am ungrateful. Not ungrateful. My mother tells me my mother tells me I'm unable to take good criticism. I came to see you, Otis. Alright, back to the story.
Hey, this is your boy KML with No Destination Travels, here to give you the tips you need to get you where you want to go. Travel slow. If you like what you hear, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'm probably not going to put it there, I don't know why I did that. But please hit the like and subscribe button, it really helps a lot. Thank you. So, in the previous video, I spoke about how to travel in Vietnam under $800. Now, some of you may ask, how do I get that $800? I spoke about that in another video. I will put both videos in the link at the end. But the main important question is how much it is to travel around the world. Some people may have the money already saved. Some people may just want to take a gap year in college or before they go to college. I believe it's called a gap year. Yeah, we're gonna call it a gap year. But some people want to take that time and maybe they want to go by themselves, maybe they want to go with a significant other, but they want to do a year around the world. I'm going to show you how to do it. So, we're here to talk about the cost of traveling around the world. Now, some of you may be thinking, whoa, too expensive, can't do it. Others may be thinking, I got a little change, I can probably make it happen. But you all are wondering how much it costs. I'm here to tell you. Well, to be honest with you, I'm here to tell you, I don't know the cost. I don't personally know you. I feel like I know you, but I don't personally know you. So I'm not quite sure what's your standard of living, but I'm here to give you the tools that you'll need to get where you're going. Now, So I'm here to give you the tools that you need to get you where you're going. One of the first tools you need to know is where you're going and how you want to travel. So the first step is where you need to go and your level of comfort. Now again, as much as we're your family and No Destination Travels, the way a person travels is really up to them. So I'm gonna say this, one of the best things you can do is maybe write down a list of some places you want to see. And the second thing you can do is find out your comfort level. And we'll talk more about that. On to the second step. Now the second step is knowing your major costs. And I even break it down a little more and talk about the major costs per day. And the reason I do that is because if you know your cost per day and you're under that cost, that means you're doing well. And that means that money will last you longer. If you're constantly over the cost per day, then you know you need to scale back, or you might need to cut your trip a month shorter than expected. Like I said, we're all about traveling slow, and there's no need to ball out all the time. But occasionally you do go over your spending limit. And step 3 is real simple. We're just gonna put everything together in a nice little bow. I'll add everything right here. I'm probably not gonna add it right there, but I'm gonna try to add it right here. And we're gonna call it a day. Like and subscribe again. Thank you. So, a little bit about me. I travel slowly. I jump around from country to country about every 3 months. Now, not everybody wants to travel like me, and I understand that. So, let's say we're given a month or 2 for each country. And let's see how much that adds up. So we have to figure out what kind of traveler you are. So, are you champagne pappy, spending that money on your trip? Are you the, what's that called, man bun? Are you the man bun traveler with a vest and maybe some genie pants? Or you could be somewhere in between. I personally never wore genie pants. but I'm somewhere in between there. I try to stick to my budget as much as possible. Sometimes I do go over, mostly on food. Yeah, that's a problem. Too much good food. But to be honest with you, I'm somewhere in the middle, not too high. I try to stay away from the bare minimum to try to live life as comfortably as I can. Now, one of the ways I was able to save some money for the rest of this trip was by starting in Asia. Places like the Philippines, Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia. Places like these are known to be 2 to 3 times cheaper than the major cities in Europe and maybe even the United States. For all intents and purposes, so are most places in South America, where you can save serious coin just by living there, get a little studio apartment, nothing too fancy, and save some money for the trips where you might want to ball out. You even say ball out? Probably not. Now, if you don't have the money saved, you can always become a digital nomad. I have in a previous video talking about how much I make as a digital nomad. I teach English online, so basically I get to travel around and teach from my computer, teaching kids in China and abroad. So one of my basic needs is a quiet place and internet. That's very important. And if you're a digital nomad, that means you get to hop around because you always know that you have a paycheck coming in. That being said, you're able to travel to places like Indonesia, Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, and a few other places in South America. And because you basically know how much you're getting on a monthly basis, for the most part, it makes it a little easier to budget things out. But let's start talking about the budget. So the first thing you'll have to worry about is airfare, getting to place. Now, there are websites where you can go and get the world ticket, where you can travel around in one direction around the world, making different stops. I believe it's up to 12 stops. Do not quote me on that, but I know the price is somewhere around $2,000 to $3,000. Now, I always try to make a buffer on that, so I put an extra $1,000 on there, which brings the total up to $4,000, giving you about $11 a day. Now, with that, there are other options. If you're traveling much slower, maybe you don't need 12 trips. Maybe you just need 6 and a trip home. I was able to look on Skyscanner, one of the different websites that I use, and I was able to find a trip going from New York City to Dublin to Italy to Egypt to India and a few other places, and that only cost me around $1,000. And that was, if I did the math right, that was about a 6-month trip. So like I said, airfare, $11. Now, accommodation is a bit tricky to talk about because again, you have people who may like the lower end. So we're talking about couch surfing where it's free. We're talking about work to live where you might work on a farm and there you might live free. We're talking about au pairs where they babysit and you get to live for free. Not only do they babysit, but they also get paid, and I believe they're able to go on vacations. You should really look into that if you're on the younger side, maybe fresh out of college and you want to travel to places in Europe. Now you have the upper end. We're talking hotels, and to be honest with you, I might stay in a hotel every once in a while, but that's really not my thing. The prices is just too crazy. Why spend $70 a night? Now, you have me, like I said, I'm somewhere in the middle. Some nights I might stay in the hostel just to get to know people, meet people, especially on your first couple of days in the country. You might want to meet a few people in the hostel. But in most cases, like I said, I need a quiet place. It's never quiet in a hostel. So I choose Airbnb. That's a little step up. Airbnb is like living in your home. Well, it is living, actually. So I live in the next step up for that is Airbnb. Now for Airbnb, you're living in somebody's home. Most of the time that person is not there, but sometimes they may be living there with you. So it's a little bit quieter. Most of the time they provide bedding, towels, all that. Internet, check the internet speeds before you get there if you are a digital nomad. Now for Airbnb, they may or may not come with breakfast depending on how long you're there for. Either way, hopefully you're able to cook in there. In Vietnam, I Airbnb'd in what looked like it wasn't somebody's home, it was a hotel. So that was pretty cool. In Asia they have deals like that, but even in Europe, I've Airbnb'd beautiful homes, and thank you for the people. As well as there's a link for Airbnb that will give you a discount. Click it, get the discount, and it'll help me for helping you. Thank you. But yes, Airbnb, hostels, I try to stay in that range. For hostels, I don't really go over $10 a night. For Airbnb, I don't go over $20 a night. Now, some places may be cheaper, some places may not be so much cheaper. Scratch that. So some places may be cheaper, some places may not be. It really depends. Matter of fact, I will show you. Now, as you can see, the prices in Italy, Rome, not that bad. Yeah, you're living in a one-bedroom, but you're staying where you need to stay. You got internet, you're there for a month. Don't worry about being inside. Worry about what you do on the outside, especially if you're saving a little bit of coin. Now, as far as money, $20 a day should get you a place almost anywhere. And again, if you spend less, that money can be allocated anywhere else. So, airfare, $11. Accommodation for me and anyone who want to travel in that mid-range, roughly $20. Food is tricky. Like I said, I always budget. I try to stay on budget, but sometimes I take off depending on the restaurant. Italian food, one of my favorites. Also, any place in Asia. Love it, love it, love it. Can't stay away from mango sticky rice. If anybody who knows me, they know that's true. Comment down below. Let me know. Have you had sticky rice? Do you even know what that is with the mango and let me know if you know what it is. Now, food is tricky because you got some people on the low end that can eat from 7-Elevens, fruit from outside street markets. They can eat street food, and that and all may come to, I don't know, $3, sometimes $3 a day in Asia, sometimes cheaper, you know. But then you have people who grocery shop, and that might run you $50 a week or less. And then you have some people who eat a little bit more. So that might, it depends on your budget at home. I'm gonna say if your budget is around $200 for home, it will probably be $200 abroad, maybe a little more. My at-home budget was around $160. I added an extra $40 for waters and things of that nature. Some places you cannot drink the water, and other places you can. I always try to have me a water bottle anyways. It's just cheaper to travel around with. But for food budget, I try to stick around $6.50. And like I said, I might inflate it a little more when I do the math. You'll see. The last thing you want to budget is fun. You want to hit the bars. You want to go to historical sites. You want to hike. You want to do, what's that, kayaking when you're in the water and go, you want to do all that. But you need the money. So this is where the budget come in. When you travel slowly, you don't need to do something every single day. Some days you just might want to go for a night tour. Some days you might want to go for a walking day tour. Some days you just might want to rent a bike and ride your bike around. Some days you might want to picnic. All these things are free or extremely cheap. I believe a day tour, you give the guy a tip. So I try to budget $10, somewhere in around with $10, because I'm not doing things every day. I might add that $10 from yesterday when I just went out for a picnic, or I went out, why am I saying picnic? I never picnic. Maybe I just went to a park. I do like to go to a park. That's where some of the workout, free gym type stuff to do. That's another thing you could do. You could work out outside. That's pretty fun. Basketball if you're into basketball. Football if you're into football. Like I said, there's different things you can do. If you're working, sometimes you don't have time to spend that $10. But I always try to budget $10 a day. And again, you can add that freely whenever you need it. So this time, I won't be writing it down. I'll be using a calculator, because your boy can't do math. He dumb. I'm gonna cut that out. But what I got was basically $18,615. Now, I said $50 a day. That actually came out to $51 a day. I did inflate the food to incorporate waters and maybe a little bit of alcohol some days. Whatever you're into. If you're in Amsterdam, it may not be alcohol. But we're talking $51 a day. Now, again, in Asia, that might be cut down to $35 a day. But in Europe, you'll probably use roughly that $50 a day. But then again, you can only stay in Europe in the Schengen. You can only stay in the Schengen for 90 days, and then you have to be someplace else for another 90 days. And there are places in Europe that's cheap, where we're talking $40 a day. And that includes accommodation, a little something to do, food, and airplane ticket. And again, we also inflated the numbers for airplane tickets, so everything comes out to $18,615. That's not too bad. Again, I inflated a lot of those numbers. I'm pretty sure you can get away with a little lower. But I would say at least $15,000 is for your year-round trip. So I know in most places in America, people are actually spending way more than that a year. Way more. So I know it is affordable. That's actually pretty good. And if you work online, it's even better. Now, in saying that, always have some money saved up in case of emergencies. Don't ever trust that your job is just gonna pay you on time. Always try to have at least a couple thousand saved up just in case you need to fly home. Also, in the price, I did not include insurance. You should always travel with medical insurance if you can, and travel insurance just in case your bag goes missing or you miss your flight. Travel insurance should be roughly around $100 a month altogether. And with that, you should be able to protect yourself while traveling. Alright, so this will be the last little bit of advice I give you. Watch out for airfare, because they come with fees. Airfare has been the cheapest it's been in the last 5 to 10 years. I know just last year, I was able to catch a flight from, I think it was from New York to Dublin, back to New York I was able to catch a flight from New York to Dublin, back to New York for under $300. But I had just a book bag on me. No extra luggage. Traveling like that might be a little bit too light for people. So always check fees. Sometimes a fee might be $200, which will really boost up your airline ticket. Try to buy the fees when you buy your ticket. That's always cheaper than buying it last minute. And if you can, try to pack as light as possible. I actually do a video teaching you how to pack. But that's a wrap. This is K-Mel with No Destination Travels, giving you the tips you need to get you where you need to go. All right, stay safe, like and subscribe if you like the information. Peace.